I don't overwhelm myself with other ideas that you'll see like in much of this other work. I don't overwhelm myself with a lot about the technical issues or the material or mediums, or I try to make these very spontaneous, and they try to come directly from the heart, and they sort of find themselves or their meanings as they're being developed. So this is still the majority of the work that I make, and it probably relates the best all around to even the sculpture and other materials that I use. When I referred to like 10 years ago and coming to this sort of question of finding my own voice and finding a way to speak to the digital elements in our life and our society, that was when I started to launch into, say, these works and these works. These works behind me start out as maybe a 30-inch tall drawing or painting, and I take it, I do the painting, then I scan it, and then I bring it into the digital world, and I push it into Photoshop or some other graphic software, and that's where I start to add the digital elements. I start to add the content and the money and the different elements into the digital image. At that point, I take and I print that image, I mount it on a panel, and I cover it with resin, and then I start to work on it some more. And I do layers of paint, layers of resin, layers of paint, layers of resin, and I continue until I feel that I'm finished with the image. Sometimes that's 3 or 4 layers of resin and paint, sometimes it's 10 or 12. And so the idea that came of that was that I would start with the hand and creating the image. I would push it into the digital world, and then I would pull it back out again, and it would be worked on by the hand again. So the images would just take a detour into the digital world and back out again. And that sort of carried me a long way. That carried me into all of this work. As you can see, all of these pieces are basically done in that fashion, where they started as an original drawing or painting or print. I contextualized them in Photoshop or digital formats, printed again, and then painted on some more. So this piece on the left here that everyone's looking at is called